This week's show brought to you by Roosters, a fun casual joint. Frank Shoup, Georgetown's big name in cars. Welcome everybody to the Scott County Cardinals News Graphic Football Coaches Show. It's week 4 of the high school football season. It is a little lonely in the studio tonight. We'll get to the reasons for that in a second. Coach Jim McKee could not be here in person, but we do have his comments. We went to practice and got a few words from Coach. The reason he couldn't be here tonight, for those of you that haven't heard or read, Sunday night, Coach Bill Wilson, the founder of the Scott County football program, the original coach back from the mid-60s through 1977, passed away. He was the architect of this program, as we mentioned. 70% of the games they played in those years, they won under Coach Wilson. If you've been to the high school complex now where the track and the weight room are, the field house is named after Coach Bill Wilson. He had a great impact on this community back then and continued forward till today. The big year for Coach Wilson was in 1975 when Scott County won what was then the Class AA title. There were 4 classes of football sanctioned by the KHSAA back then. Scott County with a 22-20 victory in that one over Middlesboro won the Class AA title. It was one of the thrilling finishes in state title history. They scored all the points in the fourth quarter. That was a season where Scott County went 13-2. He just had a great influence on the community in those years. It takes someone to build a program like this. And we know obviously Scott County and the city of Georgetown and the high school itself and the football program all have grown astronomically over the past 20-25 years, but it takes someone to start that. And here in Scott County, that someone was Bill Wilson. He did have connections to the current team. His grandson, Bryce Fryman, you've probably read his name or heard his name. He's one of the top running backs in the state, and I know that Coach Wilson was proud of Bryce. Obviously, sad loss for that family most of all, but a sad loss for the community of Scott County. And we do want to take a few minutes to remember him at the outset of this broadcast. The coach and players will have some words to say later on also. Looking back at last week's game, Scott County played Fort Thomas Highlands. It was a clash of undefeated teams, although undefeated at this point in the year. They're both 2-0, so not a lot to go on. Small sample size, but Scott County showed who was boss in that one, a 71-20 victory. Scott County had 10 complete offensive possessions in that game, scored on all 10. They had a kneel down before the half, and the varsity, I think, played 7 of those, and then the JV came in, played the fourth quarter, and got 3 more as well. You don't see that happen very often. And it wasn't a case of running up the score. Highlands really, to their credit, kind of hung in the game. It was close, 21-7 early in the second quarter, and Highlands was going in for another score, fumbled on the goal line. Cooper Robb recovered it, and that was kind of the turning point in the game. Scott County came down. I believe Bryce Fryman had a big reception on that drive to kind of get that drive going, and all of a sudden it was 28-7, and Scott County was rolling from there. But that was a much easier game than expected in a lot of ways. Last year it was 42-33 up there in Fort Thomas, a much more back and forth affair. But the offense was clicking a lot more, the defense was opportunistic, and special teams made all the extra points, put Highlands in bad field position on kickoffs all night. It was just a complete victory for the Cardinals, who are now 3-0. And they won't be playing a team from Kentucky either this week or next week, because now begins the Cincinnati stretch of the schedule, as it were. That starts this Friday night at Toyota Stadium at 7:30 p.m., where Scott County will go up against Archbishop Moeller. Archbishop Moeller with a 1-1 record, and that one loss was to a team we all know pretty well here in Kentucky. As Moeller came down last Saturday afternoon and went to Louisville to face Trinity. Trinity is ranked number 23 in the USA Today national poll. They're obviously ranked number 1 in all the Kentucky polls, and Moeller had them down 17-0 after one quarter. It was a game that went back and forth. Trinity came back and took the lead 38-24. Moeller scored again to cut it to 8 and had the ball late in the game with a chance to maybe tie. But Trinity forced a turnover and ran out the clock. But a tough game, and to play Trinity that well speaks to where Moeller is as a program, and it's a name that's kind of synonymous with Cincinnati football and Midwest football. Jerry Faust, who was the coach at Notre Dame for many years in the 80s, he cut his coaching teeth there before he took the Notre Dame job. It's a proud school with a proud tradition. I believe 38 All-Americans I read 9 Ohio State titles, 5 national titles. I mean, we're talking national titles in high school. That's no joke. So Scott County with its work cut out for it this week. The Cardinals will kind of see where they stack up, because this week they have Moeller. Next week they go to Cincinnati and play LaSalle. So 2 big, strong Catholic school programs back-to-back out of the city of Cincinnati. And that's kind of what Coach has said by design. They didn't really want to play them back-to-back, but now that they are, they're kind of looking forward to this as a dress rehearsal for November. When, in fact, if they want to get where they are hoping to go, which is Kroger Field for the state title game, they'll probably more than likely have to play someone of the caliber of St. X or Mayo, and then come back and play Trinity at UK for the state title. So to do something like that in back-to-back weeks, this is kind of a test that prepares them for that. And they're going to see where they're at. I know for those of you that saw Scott County play Elder the past couple of years, they went up there. That game wasn't all that close. Elder came down here last year, and it's a different story. Scott County had a chance to win that one. Fell a little bit short on a play in the inside the 5-yard line at the end of the game, lost 20-14. They've never played Moeller, so we will see a lot of new history to be made here this year and then next year with a return trip. So we've talked to Coach McKee. We will get to that interview now. We got his thoughts on Coach Wilson on last week's Highlands game and again this week's game at Moeller. Let's see what Coach had to say. Coach Bill Wilson left a legacy for the Scott County program that Coach McKee has tried to emulate.
You know, it's tough, but I'm sure Coach would want us to celebrate his life, and he would want us to continue to practice, and we have, and to go out and play well on Friday. You know, he gave a tremendous amount of time, effort, and energy. I've always, you know, when I was growing up as an adult here, I came here, I think I was 27 or 8. You know, Mud Varney was the mayor, Dallas Blankenship was superintendent, George Lusby was the county judge, and Bill Wilson was the former football coach. And those were kind of like the 4 pillars of our community. It's a close-knit community. We knew him well, and we appreciate everything that he gave to our program. And, you know, we hope to carry his memory on.
The Highlands game turned in Scott County's favor and grew lopsided in a hurry. This week's contest against Moeller will be a much different challenge.
You know, we played well, and it was one of those games where the 2 or 3 breaks went our way and went against them. You know, we're better than them, and you know, anytime you can put a run of clock on Fort Thomas Highlands with what they've done over the years, that's impressive. They're not as good as they've been, and also, you know, our school's 3 or 4 times their size. We ought to beat them. You know, I mean, I'm a straight shooter, and I really enjoyed playing Elder the last 2 years. You know, I felt like it was a great atmosphere for our kids. I feel like I'm at the point in time as the head coach. Our program is at this point in time as players and as a staff and a community. You know, we're only going to be one entity for 2 or 3 more seasons. And, you know, we owe it to the kids to put them in that kind of atmosphere. And I thought the Elder game was great. Now, honestly, you know, we looked not to play Moeller one week and turn around and play LaSalle the second week. We had hoped to play one or the other of them. Either play Moeller and come back with the local team, or play a local team and play LaSalle. But it just got down to where we had 9 games and we had exhausted all means. And you know, everybody's got to do what's best for them. And I get that. You know, do I wish Tates Creek, Clark County, Madison Central, some of those teams would play us? Sure I do. But I can't make them play us, so this is where we are and this is what we're going to do.
Moeller features 3 players who have committed to Division I colleges and an explosive passing game.
They're very balanced. They can run the ball, they can throw the ball. I'm not great with names. They got one really good big lineman. Looks like the rest of their linemen are younger that have graduated from last year. 75 looks like a good returner, and their other linemen are obviously good too. Quarterback's good. He's a kid that's 6'1"-ish, who can throw and run. Couple receivers, very good. Couple tight ends, one committed to Kentucky. One was a transfer last Christmas, played in the Division III state championship game last year, transferred down at Christmas. So very talented on offense, and then just extremely aggressive on defense. They run a 4-3 scheme. that looks like in the film that we've watched that they believe in that. You know, when you play a really well-coached team, for the most part, you're going to get what you see because that's what they believe in, that's what they do. You know, a lot of times we'll get defense of the week where we'll play a team and we'll watch all the film and then they'll come out in something totally different. While I'm sure Moeller will probably have an adjustment or two that they want to do against Wing T, for the most part, I think we'll see a 4-3 and really no flaws in their kicking game. Now, they don't have like a back of the end zone kicker. They're very good on punt return. They're very good on kickoff return. They do a great job there. They make their extra points and field goals. They don't have a end zone shot kicker. So hopefully we can get our hands on a couple balls and maybe make something happen in the kicking game. We need to make a couple things happen realistically to win the game. You know, we got a puncher's chance, you know, when you come out and, you know, I mean, if it just goes, we got to line up with them play after play for 125 plays and exchange 3 yards in a cloud of dust, you know, we're probably not going to win the game. If we go out there and turn the ball over 2 or 3 times, we're going to have a hard time winning the game.
McKee said just about everything will have to go right in order to beat Moeller on Friday.
We got to keep our people healthy, not turn the ball over, and take a couple downfield shots to have a chance to win. You know, every situation is how you spin it. And I feel like as a leader, you have a responsibility to spin something for a group of people that are following you. You know, I'll guarantee you that great leaders try to find something that they can teach out of every situation. And the kids are going to respond a lot the way that I respond. And if I'm loose and ready to go, I think the kids will be. And that's what I've told them. I said, hey, guys, if we're fortunate enough to get to the semifinals, we're going to have to play, in all likelihood, St. X Male or PRP. We're going to have to turn around and play Trinity in the finals. We got to play Moeller this week, LaSalle the next. So we can use this as a dry run for what we're going to have to do to get in the state championship game and win a state championship later in the season.
That was Coach McKee. As always, some insightful comments as Scott County gets ready to play Moeller. We have player interviews this week. Tano Trevino, who has made a transition from defense to offense, playing center, and also Nick Lawley, who has kind of made that transition, but he's playing on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, and that caught up with him a little bit in the Highlands game. Those of you that were in the stands might have witnessed a scary moment as Nick was in a lot of pain, kind of very verbal about the fact that he was having full body cramps. They took him for observation in the hospital, and he spent an overnight and the better part of the following day there. Happy to report that he's okay. You'll see him on camera. He looks like he's ready to play this week against Moeller. So let's go out to the field again for some words from Tano Trevino and Nick Lawley. Scott County's offense scored on every series in the Highlands game, and the defense was equally productive.
We played good. We did what we were supposed to be doing. So that's why we were scoring every drive. Like 7 drives, 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, that was a really good game. Everyone scored pretty high in Sunday practice, and unfortunately, I went down in like the beginning of the 3rd quarter. So I remember when I went down, it was like 35-21 or something like that. And then when I was in the hospital, I actually won, and my mom was like, "Yeah, it was like 70-20." And so I wasn't really there to see him blow up, but I mean, obviously it was a good game. But I played more plays against Lafayette, and I mean the weather was cooler then, but I think it was just like I was really dehydrated because that entire week I just didn't eat that much or drink that much or sleep that much. And so this week I've been drinking a lot of water and sleeping really good. I'll be a lot better. It won't happen again.
The offensive line has emerged as a strength after inexperience and injuries caused problems early in the season.
I think we've just been getting used to each other a lot more. We've been getting more cohesive because we've got 4 brand new starters on the varsity O-line. 3 of us never even played offense since probably about 8th grade. But every week we just get closer and closer and more used to what we're supposed to be doing and learning our plays.
I just think it's cool because like 3 out of 5 guys beginning of the season were all on defense. Like Tano was D tackle, I was DN, and Hickey was a linebacker. And now we're all right next to each other, and we all went to the same middle school, and we're the only 3 that still play from that middle school. And so it's just cool, and we bond about it, and I mean, we all get better together, and it helps us get closer as friends and as teammates.
Moeller's size and speed could cause difficulty for Scott County Friday night.
There's some big dudes, that's for sure. I think we can beat them as long as we do what we're supposed to do and run our plays right. Just whoever's lower and wants it more.
They got some really good receivers. They're really tall, and their defense is aggressive, and they're just overall a good team. And so overall, it'll be a good game.
The players also paid tribute to Coach Bill Wilson this week.
He must have been a pretty great coach if they named the whole field house after him.
I've talked to Mr. Wilson before, and he was a really nice man, and he's a legend here, and so his passing really hurt the whole community.